Murray State, we have made it to week 9 and I've only eaten ramen 6 times this week. Shoes up, masks up, racers. It's time for MSU Tonight. Welcome to MSU Tonight. I'm Megan Reynolds. Tonight we'll be talking with Murray State student Bo Mohan. But first, it's time for Hot Topics. Amy McGrath and Mitch McConnell went head-to-head last night in the first senatorial debate of this election season. One of the hot topics was the Senate Majority Leader's blocking of the most recent coronavirus relief bill. When criticized by McGrath, McConnell laughed, shifting the blame to the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, who he claims refuses to negotiate a deal. Our friend Andrew Green went on campus to get a mid-semester update from students. Let's find out how they are dealing with all the changes that COVID has brought.
COVID-19 has affected every part of university life, from the way we go about eating to how we celebrate big events. I went on campus to talk to students about their experience this semester and to get a feel for how everyone is handling it.
My semester's been affected by COVID, with all my classes being online now, and we're having to social distance in like the few in-person classes that we have. And we gotta wear all the masks and stuff.
Right now, some of our ensemble rehearsals have been canceled, so that's probably the biggest change.
It has certainly made things a little bit more remote, being away from classes, having to take classes from my dorm and also in the buildings. But I think it's also brought us a little closer with our teachers, a better understanding, and seeing a window into their lives whenever they Zoom from home and that kind of stuff.
This semester, events such as homecoming and graduation are going to be held virtually.
I'm glad that kind of stuff is online right now. I mean, it's not the best situation, but nothing is right now. So we gotta do what we can to, make sure that we put a stop to this virus.
That doesn't affect me very much right now, but I know I have friends who obviously will be graduating, and so I feel bad for them. And I also know how it is because last year I wasn't able to graduate high school in person.
It's certainly going to be different. I don't want to say it's going to be terrible just because it kind of depends on how you look at it. I'm not going to be graduating this year, but I hope that it's something special for the people that do.
I also engaged with how they thought Murray State was handling the situation.
I think they've been doing good with the situation. I mean, there's issues like, people not wearing their masks and stuff, but that's, happens everywhere. And I think Murray's doing their best to curb that kind of thing, and all the classes are nice and socially distanced. So, I think Murray's doing a pretty good job.
It's being handled very well because there are a lot of policies in place that are meant to protect everybody. Whether these policies are followed or not is a different thing, but overall, yes.
So far, I think just depending on that, we haven't been shut down yet. I think we've handled this pretty okay so far. Though I heard there's been an uptake in cases, just being that we're not at home right now, I think it's good.
And their concerns for the spring semester.
Well, for next semester, I hope that we're not still online, but if we have to, I'm all for it. But hopefully we'll be done with this by then.
I just hope we're in person.
Overall, it just seems like everyone is ready for things to be back to normal. From MSU Tonight, I'm Andrew Green. Back to you, Megan.
Murray State alumna Chriselle Staus has been competing on Dancing with the Stars. Despite staying towards the bottom of the leaderboard, each week she continues to improve and has stayed out of the bottom 2 thus far in the season. She still lives to dance another day, and you can watch her compete Mondays at 7 p.m. on ABC. If you're planning on voting in Callaway County, it's best if you figure out your voting method or voting location prior to voting day. Callaway County has installed numerous voting locations, including Murray State's own CFSB Center. Entrance to the CFSB Center can be found on the B side of the building by the softball fields. Spreading out voters this year will be crucial to maintaining COVID guidelines and is designed to make voting a smoother process. Voting locations include North, Southwest, and East Elementary as well. Day of, voters will enter through the gymnasium entrance located at the rear of schools. Yeet! Murray State football and the OVC have published their schedules. MSU will have 7 games in their conference, with 4 being home games. The other 3 will be away games. Murray State will begin their season on February 27th at SEMO. That's all for Hot Topics. We'll be right back with our interview. Welcome back to MSU Tonight. I'm joined in the studio tonight by Bo Mohan. I did it. I butchered it, but it's
You're
okay.
fine.
We're going to keep
You're
going.
all good.
All right. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Megan.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
Thanks
thank
for
you
coming.
so much. I'm so excited to be here.
That's awesome. I love when people are excited. It makes me very excited. So, Bo, tell us about yourself.
I'm Bo. I am a student here at Murray State. I'm a political science major with a minor in religious studies.
Okay.
So yeah.
Religious studies. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So we're just going to break right into it.
Do it.
Election is less than a month away. What are your hopes for that?
Well, I hope probably for like the same thing like everyone else, for peace and stability, because obviously these are very hectic times right now, very scary times, and I just hope that no matter what happens, that order and peace and just the well-being of the American population is, like there's faith again in that. Yeah.
You talk about order and peace. So when, Trump had that statement of, he's not going to commit right now to a peaceful transfer of power, how do you think that might go?
I remember I've been living in Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska for the past year, and as the news, with COVID came out, I'm like, well, maybe this is his time to shine. Maybe he'll pull something out of the bag, and President Trump will actually finally pull himself together in the face of this kind of awful tragedy that's happening. And as he kept, doing what he does, I really, it was alarming. And when he recently said that, I was like, oh, like this is very real. Whenever COVID-19 happened, I kind of realized like how privileged we are as Americans, because we never think that something like COVID could happen to us. A viral pandemic, that's only in third world countries. Like that doesn't, we're Americans. Like we don't have to worry about that. And after that happened, I realized, oh, just because we live in America does not mean that we are immune to the things that everyone else is. And we are not immune to dictators, apparently.
Indeed. So let's kind of shift. Let's talk a little bit about Supreme Court Justice Ginsburg passed away. His nominee for her replacement is Amy Coney Barrett, who has said a lot of things in the realm of being anti-separation of church and state, being someone who would support overturning Roe v. Wade, someone who would overturn marriage equality. What are your thoughts in that realm?
I think a lot of the discussion around the hearing is very unfortunate, because it seems a lot of people are focusing on her religion and her religious beliefs. I mean, I think more than half of the Supreme Court is Roman Catholic. The other half, I think, is Jewish, and I think there's one Episcopalian on there. He was raised Catholic. I think that is a very big misdirect that is happening there. I think the real problem that people are having with her is her views in the Constitution and what her actual views are, not her religious views per se. I think her religious views will affect her, but they affect all the other judges. So I do think, personally, I think there is cause for concern for those, the risk of those being overturned, those past decisions. I do not think it's in the same way of as the discussions that we are seeing right now. So yeah.
Okay. So let's shift to local. Let's talk a little bit about the Robert E. Lee statue on the court square, let's talk about the whites only water fountain that's there, and the protests that have been kind of culminating around that. In general, with Kenny Imes, kind of being like a force for we have to keep it there. What are your thoughts surrounding that?
It is very baffling to me. I'm from Graves County originally. We still have a Confederate. I think it is a water fountain as well. It just holds flowers. It's just the oddest thing because you would think that at a government facility, especially a courthouse, where if you walk in, especially for, I know we have a traditional building, but like for a trial traditionally, you would think, you want everyone to feel equal walking in. Walking past the courthouse, if you are a Black American, I do not see how they could feel equal or even safe walking by that, especially where we know the history of who put it up and why. By the Daughters of the Confederacy during the Jim Crow era. Like that, it is very much, it's very clear what the message was intended to be, and it still is. We are not alone on this. Obviously America at large is very much grappling with our history of blatant racism, that has just hidden itself. Slavery was never abolished. It just evolved.
Just moved into the prison system.
It just evolved and it hid itself. And I am both, hopeful for the discussions that are going on, but also it is sad to see that this still has to go on. So many years past the Civil Rights Movement. I was taught the Civil Rights Movement was Martin Luther King Jr. marching, and a little old Black woman in a bus who didn't give up her seat. I wasn't told about Malcolm X and the real struggle that they have had to go through, and a lot of communities still are going through. So I am hopeful that maybe, just maybe, white people will be inconvenienced enough that they'll actually have to start caring.
Okay. Gonna shift it again back to elections. So what are some platforms that you really want to see tackled in this next, after the election happens, in the next presidency, in terms of is it climate change? Is it Second Amendment? Do we want to restrict guns? What are some things you want to see happen?
I think, first starting locally, I think obviously so many local communities are struggling and, kind of gasping for air in this pandemic. I think that, we really do have to, as a community, rally around each other, socially distanced, of course, but, really take stock of our community and realize, what we actually really do have here. And I think, we need our elected officials to mirror that and do what they can to support our local businesses and do what we can to shore up our communities. Nationally, on the large scale, obviously the same thing, but I think what I'm hoping to see in the next administration, whichever it is, whoever wins the election, things like tackling climate change, because that is such a looming threat for all of humanity. Pushing greater access to health care, just the general welfare of our country. We have got to realize, and this pandemic is again a great example of Americans have become so individualistic that we do not know how to connect with each other truly as a community. That we have got to learn how do we build, an America that we can be proud of again.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for this discussion. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Halloween and Halloween movies and all things Halloween. It'll look a little different. It'll be great. So stay tuned. Don't leave. And we are back. So first, we have a very important task to do. I see you see we've added headbands. We are Halloween themed. We have our little skeleton hands to shake hands with.
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
To be socially distant. Okay, there we go.
You go.
Yeah,
There
it took
you
us a
go.
little bit. But, okay, I'm going to hold that there. So I brought candy because what is Halloween without candy? The sour candy is spooky themed. creepy crawlers,
Perfect.
and evil twins.
Perfect.
Which would you prefer?
I need the creepy crawlers, please.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the sweet, because not everything's sour, you know, life's got to be a little sweet. The happy cherries or the two tails?
Oh, happy cherries.
Bam! Oof.
Oh no.
Oh, it's good.
It's fine.
We'll fetch them later. Okay, so my first question. Halloween Town, yes or no?
Yes, all the way.
All of them or just,
Now the
because
thing is,
she changes, Marnie changes. She gets
See-
recast.
yes, I started watching the first couple recently again, and obviously Debbie Reynolds
Yes,
is just
amazing.
Messiah level to me. It is
Yes.
just so amazing, and so I mean, Halloween Town, I say a hard go for me. Like I do love it, even
Okay.
with the later ones where it gets a little different.
It
but-
does get a little different. I
It's still
actually think
good.
I like the later ones better though.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
That's
haven't
not
made
popular.
it through that far in my
Okay.
rewatching yet, but
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
That's fair. That's fair. I think it used to be my favorite was Twitches. I don't know if you saw Twitches. I loved Twitches. I have embarrassing stories of when I was in like elementary school and I would convince this other girl to play a twin with me. And we would be the Twitches, the twin witches.
I watched it whenever I was a kid, and I loved it, obviously. And I started rewatching it, and it's not the same for me. It's just I think the CGI and it's just a little.
That's fair.
It hasn't held up the same way.
It hasn't aged well. I
yeah,
wonder
it
if
just
I
hasn't
went
aged
back
well.
and watched if it would be like that for me. An interesting question. Now, not Disney. I don't think it's Disney. Is Hocus Pocus Disney?
I think it is because it's on Disney Plus,
It is on Disney Plus. It is
and
on
I
Disney
know
Plus.
this because it's my favorite movie, possibly of all time.
McGee from NCIS is in it.
Oh, I did not realize.
Yes,
that.
he's the cat.
Oh, he's Binks.
Yes, he's Binks. My family is obsessed with NCIS,
Yeah.
so I keep these things. They live rent free in my brain. Hocus Pocus is one of my favorite movies, and I used to live with a girl who wouldn't watch it.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hocus Pocus, it is my favorite movie. It is such a timeless, amazing movie. I mean, Bette Midler.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
you
I
cannot
love Bette
beat-
Midler so much.
It's iconic.
She's just,
so amazing.
I put a spell on you, man.
I sometimes I just listen to that like non-ironically.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
it's such a good song.
Every time I shake my head, I can hear the googly eyes make their sounds. It's fun. Okay. Do you have any other fun Halloween movies?
Yes.
Yes.
Bed Knobs and Broomsticks.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, it's so good. It's an older movie. It has Angela Lansbury in it.
Okay.
It is so good. You know it's good when you have like the end of it. She's fighting the Nazis.
Oh, yes.
So, I mean-
that sounds amazing.
You can't beat that. You really cannot beat that. It's such a good movie. It's a timeless movie.
It sounds like a much better version of The Sound of Music.
Exactly.
That's what
exactly.
it sounds like to me.
It's like if she ganged up with the nuns and they fought the Nazis.
Okay.
Which is honestly.
Which is what should have happened in The Sound of Music.
I mean, the nuns I know, they would have fought the Nazis.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. See? Power nuns. Power nuns. You know what I think? I think the new Halloween wasn't good. The remake,
Yeah.
I don't think it was good. I don't know if you've seen either of them.
I actually haven't.
Okay. Well, the first one is good. Jamie Lee Curtis is good. She's also in
Oh,
the
yeah.
new one, but it's not as good.
Are there like Activia placement, like ad placements?
No,
in
but
there
they
with her?
should have done that.
really
That would have
could
been like randomly she's like
Yeah.
running away and she's like, I got it, my Activia.
Got it.
Ah.
No, yeah, I actually really haven't. I do like Jamie Lee Curtis, but I actually haven't because it's just if it's actually scary,
No,
I
it's a
can't
no
cope.
for you.
No, I mean the part in Hocus Pocus where in the meeting with the devil, it's not really the devil; it's just a guy in the
It's just
costume.
a guy, yeah.
That scares me even a little bit. I get easily startled.
I
So
love it.
yeah,
I love it. All right. Well, thank you for this conversation. This has been my favorite conversation of the day.
thank you.
All right. We'll be right back with just a little bit of content, but stay there anyway. Well, friends and enemies, that's a wrap. I suppose it's rather sad, but I am positive you can get over it. We do every week, so you can too. Tune into MSU Tonight every Tuesday night at 5 on MSU TV 11 or visit us on our YouTube channel at the URL below. And keep in mind, every time you read a poem or paint a picture, Socrates dies a little inside, and that's just another reason to keep the arts alive.